Thank you for selecting a Pulsafeeder Conductivity Cooling Tower Controller for your application. This video is intended to familiarize you with the MicroVision controller. Please refer to the detailed information in the installation manual that was provided with your controller, and always adhere to all local, state, and national codes. From the Settings menu, press the Enter button and arrow down to the inhibitor and select it. Using the up arrow, highlight Pulse Timer and select it. The first thing is to set the feed time. This is the amount of time in minutes and seconds you want the inhibitor to feed when the water meter accumulator reaches its target. Use the arrow buttons to enter the limit time, then hit Enter and OK. This will bring you back to the inhibitor menu. Next, we'll set the accumulated volume of water that you want to accumulate prior to the start of inhibitor feed. When Accumulator Set is highlighted, select it and use the arrow buttons to enter the number. Then hit Enter and OK. The accumulator count is the current running count of the water meter. To see this, highlight Accumulator Count and select it. You can clear this by pressing the Reset button and the OK. Press the back button to return to the menu. The MicroVision can be configured as a bleed and feed type of controller. To set this, we will use the inhibitor limit timer. In this mode, the inhibitor relay will energize when the bleed function is running. If this time is exceeded, the controller will go into alarm and the inhibitor relay will de-energize. From the inhibitor menu, highlight and select Limit Timer. Set the limit time in hours and minutes. Arrow through, press Enter and OK. The cycle timer mode sets the inhibitor to feed a percentage of a time period. For example, if you want to feed 6 minutes every hour, you would set the cycle time to 60. From the menu, select Cycle Time and enter 60 minutes. Then hit Enter and OK. Then set percent to 10. Then hit Enter and OK. So 10% of 60-minute cycle is 6 minutes. The inhibitor will feed 6 minutes every hour. The last inhibitor mode type is percent post-bleed. This timer keeps track of the amount of time the Bleary Delay is turned on. When the bleed shuts off, the inhibitor begins feeding for a percentage of the bleed time. This timer also includes a limit timer to prevent overfeeding. Highlight and select percent post-bleed from the inhibitor menu. Then select percentage. Now enter your value using the arrow buttons. Hit Enter and OK to return to the menu. Next, select the limit time in hours and minutes and press Enter and OK. To disable this function, set the time to zeros. From the inhibitor menu, highlight and select BioTracking and select it. Skip will skip an inhibitor feed cycle if a biocide happens to be feeding. Pause will delay the inhibitor from feeding until the biocide feed cycle is completed, then it will feed. Selecting None will feed inhibitor regardless of what the biocide feed cycle is doing. Please note that if any inhibitor feed cycles were paused or skipped, they will not be added to the next inhibitor feed cycle. From this menu screen, just use the arrow keys to make your selection. Then press the back button. This video was a brief overview on how to program your MicroVision. If you have additional questions, please contact your local sales representative, visit our website at pulsatron.com, or call our tech support